Welcome to another edition of Africa Sideways. My name's Big Six Simpson and we're in something a little new. Well, I haven't driven one of these before, the Ford Everest Sport. This is probably the fourth or fifth Everest I've reviewed over the years. Since the original Everest, used by the UN, very hard utilitarian four-wheel drive, which was changed about 5 years ago into this plush sort of Land Cruiser Prado-esque wagon. Low range diff lock, so you got all the four-wheel drive ability, but they went and put 20-inch low profile rims on here with some Goodyear efficiencies, good tires, but very much city tires. So this car is definitely aimed at your city slickers. If you like a nice big rim, the rims look gorgeous, the black rims with the black what on earth is that? With the black mirrors, looks really good. We're going through it, having a little dart through Constantia. Handling on this is really good. The 20-inch low profile rims does give you excellent handling on the road, and I'm surprised by how soft the ride quality is. It really doesn't feel like, a lot of the time on low profile tires you feel like you're definitely driving low profile tires, but it's not the case for this particular vehicle, which is coming in at 720,000 Rand. To put it in, which is pretty much a direct competition to the Fortuner. Excellent turning circle on this car, let's check it out. Look at that. I mean, there's no chance the Mahindra would have got around here. So they got the turning circle on point. So this is 720,000. This is a single turbo engine, not the twin turbo. I was very surprised that they didn't go with a twin turbo. If you're going to call the car the Sport, you want the sort of the maximum kilowattage available in your engine range, which is the bi-turbo at the moment, or even put the 3.2 diesel in and tune that up a bit. You could easily tune that up to 160 kilowatts, and then this would be a true Sport. So I'm not sure that they got the naming right, but I really like this car for a couple of reasons, which I'll take you through. The first thing I like is that there's a lot more manual touches on here than the more sort of your top end Everest, the most expensive one, which can cost you about an extra 150,000 Rand after the bells and whistles with the bi-turbo. I find the bi-turbo it's definitely more thirsty than this engine. Having two turbos means you got a lot more fuel swishing around. So this is more economical. Definitely the power, you can feel that it doesn't have that kick in the back of the seat power, but I remember driving the Ford Tourneo with this engine to Joburg and back, and it was extremely economical, really good to drive. Even driving pretty fast, I couldn't get over 10 liters per 100 k's, which is really good for such a big bus. So the engine is it's not a sporty engine, but it's a good engine. It's one of the better Ford engines out there, in my opinion. Fuel economy is great. I'm currently doing this car in its history has done 9.1. Yeah, it's averaging 9.1 liters per 100 k's, which is, for a car this size, is really good. I would say that probably makes it one of the most, that's true fuel economy. A lot of the time the claimed economy and the real economy is different, because it's done in an indoor setting and it's a whole controlled situation. Okay, let's take it on the little gravel, a little bit of gravel here. Let's see what, see it handles these bumps with a plum. Let's see if we can get up this sharp section. Approach angles are good. It's booted out. You see it, plenty of grunt with this engine. Really does do the business. And yeah, as I was saying, one of the things I like about this car is there's a lot of manual touches. The handbrake, they've gone for a traditional manual handbrake, which is great. It's an emergency brake. You need something to pull up in case of emergency, and I hate these e-brakes. The rear tailgate is manual. The seats are all manual. There's just so much less. There's not that much to go wrong with electronics. It's simple. They've sometimes in the past Ford have been guilty of not being the most reliable brand, but by having more manual touches and less electronics go wrong, they really get in the conversation. And with this single turbo engine, it's a really good offering for 100. To put it into perspective, a new Prado will cost you over R1 million, which sure is more plush and has the Toyota pedigree, but it's still 300,000 Rand more. And to be honest, driving the two, there's not a massive amount of difference. The Prado's got a bit more power, it's a bit quieter inside, but for most people, they're not going to notice an extremely big difference. Also, the looks on this car is really good. The black on white really pops. I'm not sure about the Everest logo on the front. The jury's still out on that one, but it certainly is a hell of a piece of kit. So let's give it a bit of stink here on the unofficial off-road track. A little bit of cross-country gravel for the Sport. Let's take the traction control off. There's the traction control off. You see it? Soaking up these bumps with no problem whatsoever. Beautiful. Got a nice little tricky up and down here. No diff lock on. I think we can get up here. No problem at all for the Everest. I will be taking this to the off-road track, probably with Rhino 1 and the boys, to see what the vehicle's got in that regard. But with this great clearance, massive clearance, probably about 130 mils, low range diff lock, you'd expect it to go a lot of places. I'm hearing a lot of talk about a V6 coming to the Raptor. I'm hoping it's going to find its way into this car, the V6 diesel. That would make this thing really quite orgasmic. So at the moment you're not getting thump in the back of your seat power, but adequate power. You could tow fine with this, and good touring vehicle. For heavy overlanding you're going to be short on power, but for general play it's more than adequate. And you can look, it's got loads of ground clearance here. They've got a 20-inch rim. You could quite easily get a I'd go for a 17-inch rim here and put a fatter set of tackies. This is a 265 by 50 on a 20. So in terms of handling on the road, really good with these. With the bigger rims, it does tend to balance out better on road use, but on off-road, you don't have much air to let down here. But I do like the fact that they went for Goodyear's, good honest brand. And then in the interior, not much different to your normal Everest. One thing I was a little bit surprised about is they don't have active cruise control and I've had it on cheaper models with it on. So I guess because this is the Sport and it's not quite the ultimate executive model of the Everest, I haven't put that on so it can differentiate. But that's fine. Off the mark, it's got a bit of power. It's got enough power actually. I mean, often I find with cars that are too fast, you just end up getting into trouble. And I don't like getting into trouble, ladies and gentlemen. So what's this up against, ladies and gentlemen? The main competition is the Toyota Fortuner, which starts off in a 2.4 litre turbo diesel, working its way up to a 2.8 litre turbo diesel. So the 2.4 is likely what this is up against. Similarly powered. There's a lot of actually similarities between the cars. Rear diff, low range. I would say the Everest probably handles better than the Fortuner. The Fortuner's never really been known for its handling, but what it has been known for is its ruggedness, off-road ability and reliability. In terms of looks, I think the Everest looks a lot cooler than it's got better lines, more flowing lines than the Everest. Is very kind of angular and kind of Germanic. I definitely prefer the look of this one. The reliability of the Fords is above average, but it's not class leading. So that's a tick for the Toyota. Here we are at highway speeds, and there's really not much wind noise in here at all. Not as quiet as a Prado, but for $1 million you expect it to be as quiet as a... I'm not going to go into a rude comment there. As quiet as a nightclub during lockdown, let's say. One thing I've noticed on all the ranges in the Everest is there's a gap between the front and the door panel here on both sides, but the back door is flush. So is this door. It's a little bit peculiar. I wonder if that affects the wind noise inside the cabin. I'll have to check out on the highway on the way back. On this side, it's also a little bit raised. It's flush here and flush at the back. That's boots all good. A little bit quirky, what do you say, flappers? We don't mind a little bit of quirk. Let's check the brakes out, all works nicely. So this would be the ultimate sort of road trip vehicle if you got kids, 7 seats, economical. You got a good range. It's got about I had about an 800k range off one tank. So I think it's an 80 litre tank. I stand corrected. If I'm wrong, I'll put the correct number there. So you really are, let's call it an 80 litre tank at 10 litres by 100 k's, which this will do easily, if not better. You're looking at an 800k range, which is great. You could easily slap an auxiliary fuel tank in here if you're going to do long touring or big towing or overlanding, and it would give you over 1000k range, which is the magic number. Probably if I was doing overlanding, I'd put an extra 50 litres on here, and that would be more than enough. One thing I must mention is a friend of mine took the 2.2 litre Bucky, the Ranger Bucky overlanding, and fully loaded, he said it was underpowered. So if you are planning to do a lot of heavy lifting and get close to the GVM, I would recommend going for the 3.2 litre Everest, which is my personal favorite. It's one of my favorite diesel engines in the land. It just sounds like a Hurricane Spitfire. It goes like stink, and it's pretty economical. I think it's only because of the emissions regulations in Europe that they ever bought out a 2 litre twin turbo, because that 3.2 was ticking in a lot of boxes, and it was one of the main reasons that the Ranger could eat into the Hilux's munchies, so to speak. So we got the Everest, and then if you're looking for something more expensive and a little bit more refined, you're going to get your Toyota Prado, which comes out in the 2.8 turbo diesel and the 4 litre V6, which my butcher's bought and he's very happy with. But in this price range, the other 7-seaters you are looking at are a bit few and far between in terms of ones with any off-road ability. You can think of the Mazda CX-6, the Honda Santa Fe, but those cars really just don't have the presence and the size of this car. And then you get your Jags and all of that, and your Audi Q7s, but then you start to talk hideous money, which way overpowers this car. And of course you got the Mitsubishi Pajero. How can we forget about the Pajero? The new Pajero has been out for a while, getting very good reviews, the best automatic gearbox in the business, and the new 2.4 litre turbo diesel. One of my subscribers was raving about it. So basically I'd say the top 3 7-seaters with off-road ability and great family wagons, which would be great for the dad, great for the mom to drive. You're looking at your Ford Everest, your Toyota Fortuner, and the Mitsubishi Pajero in this price range. It's really a tough one. They've all got their pros and cons. If I had to pick between the Fortuner, the Everest, and the Pajero, that's going to be a tricky decision, ladies and gentlemen. On looks, I'd take this. On gearbox, you take the Mits. On the engine, you arguably take the 2.8 litre Toyota engine, although the Mitsubishi engine is also good. And on reliability, I mean, it's difficult to compete with Toyota on reliability, so you're not really going to go wrong with any of those offerings. So for 720,000 Rand, if you're looking for a good, honest 7-seater with some sporty lines, good, honest turbo diesel, and loads of space for the kids, the golf clubs, the Ford Everest Sport has got you covered. But I would like to see a proper sports model with the 3.2 turbo, the 3.2 litre V5 tricked up, the twin turbo 2 litre, or better yet, let's just cut to the chase, ladies and gentlemen, and put the V6 in here from the Raptor, and really not that much space with the back seat, with the rear seats in position. But what I like about the Sports is it's all manual, so there's not as much electronics to go wrong.